We're back at it with breaking down how every country got its name in Atlas Altera, a fictional project that includes 1,000+ countries that I fabricated. If you like history, geography, or linguistics, this video and entire series may be of interest to you. After all, investigating the etymology or origin of a place name is a great way to get a little insight into any place, fictional or not. In the last video, I covered countries in Britannia, Gallia, and Aquilonia, areas that correspond to northwestern Europe in our world. Now I want to take us south, to the Mediterranean. Let's first check out what I've done in Iberia. Here on the north coast, we have Navarre, a large Basque country, if you will. The name comes from the Navarrese, or Basque, compound of Naba, valley, and Hedri, meaning land, people, or nation. And so the simplified translation for this would be something like place characterized by the valley folk. To the west, we have an inverted version of Portugal. Like in the real world, the name comes from the Latin portus, meaning port, combined with an older word, kalis, the meaning of which is disputed. Kalis may possibly originate from the ancient Greek kalos, meaning beautiful, but other theories posit an origin from the Celtic tribe known to the Romans as the Caleci, whose name purportedly meant people of the woods, with the Celtic root of the word ultimately from Cali, meaning woods, which is also the source for the northern part of Portugal, Galicia. As for Spain, there are a few proposed etymologies, but I am convinced by the Phoenician origin that it comes from the Phoenician word Ishpin, meaning the island of Hyraxes. Of note here is that the Carthaginians who bestowed this name may have actually been referring to local rabbits when they used this name, and interestingly, Hyraxes are more related to elephants and manatees than they are to rodents. On the east side of Iberia, I carved out a Catalan-speaking nation based on the crown of Aragon. That name in turn comes from the Aragon River, which is thought to come from Old Navarrese, Haran, valley, possibly compounded with Goy and Ona, upper and good, respectively, which thus gives the meaning good upper valley. Across the channel are the Balears. The name of these islands is a reference to their ancient famed slingers, with the word ultimately coming from the Greek ballo, to launch, sling, or shoot. Now to Gibraltar, which comes from the Arabic Jabal Tariq, Mount of Tariq, in reference to Tariq ibn Ziyad, who conquered southern Iberia under the Umayyad Caliphate. And over here to the last Muslim stronghold on the peninsula, we have Elvir, which comes from the Arabic Ilbira, the name of Granada during Umayyad rule, which is a corruption of the Roman name Elvira, a regional name that may have been a corruption of an earlier Roman city thought to be the precursor to Granada, Iliberis, and which ultimately derived from an even older Aquitanic or ancient Iberian toponym. I like the theory that it comes from the ancient Aquitanic Iberi, new town. And tucked away in the Pyrenees, we have Sobrarbe, coming from the Latin supra arbore, above the trees, which has to do with the mythical origins of the kingdom of Sobrarbe, the antecedent to the crown of Aragon, in which it is said a cross appeared over a tree. And now let's cross over to the central Mediterranean, to Asonia, generally corresponding to what we know as the Italian peninsula and its surrounding land. First, we begin with a stand-in for what we know as Switzerland, the country that I call Helvetium. Its name comes from the word Helveti, a Latinization of the name of a Celtic tribe. The word is derived from the Celtic compound of two words, elu, meaning rich in, abundant in, or prosperous, and the word etu, meaning grassland. To Helvetium's south, we have Lombardy, which comes from the Latin Langobardia, land of the Langobards, which comes from the name of the old Theotic tribe, the Langobardos, the Longbeards. Next to it, we have Ligury, named after the people known as the Ligures, who are of unknown origin, though the name first appears in Greek records. It may have an old Basque or Etruscan origin, or perhaps from an old Indo-Europic root, ligus or sliguis, meaning brightness. Then we have Tuscany, which comes from the Latin tuscus, further derived from truscus, a short for Etruscan. That means Tuscany is cognate to two other nearby geographic terms, Etruria and the Tyrrhenian Sea. The Etruscans, in turn, seem to derive their name from an old Etruscan endonym, Thursanus, tower people. On the other side of the peninsula, we have Veneti, which comes from the Greco-Latin ethnonym Veneti, specifically the Adriatic Veneti, who are believed to derive their name from an old Venetic word that is cognate to the Latin word Venus, meaning something akin to beloved, loveliness, or desired. The Adriatic Veneti are to be distinguished from the Celtic Veneti, which is itself a Latinization of their endonym Venetoi, meaning friendly ones, kinsmen. Adjacent to Veneti are the two microstates of Fiume and Vale. Fiume gets its name from the Latin flumen, meaning river, a reference to its capital and principal city being located on the mouth of the Rijeka River. The etymology of Vale, in turn, comes from Valmora, one of the historic districts around Trieste, with its name coming from the Latin Vallis Mora, Valley of Santa Mora, with Mora being the feminine form of Maurus, which is the Latin name that means Moorish or Mauritanian. Now, turning to Italy, or what's left of what we know as Italy, the name, of course, comes from the Oscan language Vitlu or Viteliu, meaning calf. So Italy ultimately means land of calves or land of young bulls. As for the microstates standing in for San Marino, Altera's version uses the toponym Montenegro, which was named in Tuscanian with the compound monte, mountain, and negro, black, in reference to Mount Titano, on which the city-state is centered. To the south, we have the famed island of Sicily, which, surprisingly, has a bit of an etymological mystery to it. We know the name comes from the endonym of the ancient Sekal tribe, one of the ancient sea peoples known to the Greeks as the Sekaloi, and which was even attested as Sekalesh in Old Egyptian. There is scant information on their language, however, so the base original meaning of their name is forgotten. Corsini is similarly shrouded in etymological mystery with the root word cors, likely coming into Latin from an unknown language. The name possibly also relates to one of the sea peoples, with an attested but unconfirmed meaning of treetop, treehead, which relates to the heavily forested landscape of ancient Corsini. The Phoenicians gave the island a name of similar meaning, Corsai, meaning wooded, which could either be the actual origin of the island's name or a product of phono-semantic matching. Now to the last and the largest of the major islands in Ausonia, Sardinia. Its name comes from Sherdin, one of the earliest recorded terms to refer to Sardinia, which was borrowed into Phoenician as Shardan and Greek as Sardo. The meaning of the term is ultimately unknown, though it is identical to the term used by the ancient Egyptians to refer to one of the, you guessed it, sea peoples, and who are also known to the Akkadians as the Shardana. Ausonia also includes 3 tiny island nations that all echo the history of the Malta that we know in our world. First is the island of Pantelera. It comes from the Arabic Bint al-Riyah, daughter of the winds. The island was once called Kosura by the Romans. Next we have Lampedusa, which comes from the Greek Lopadusa, but ultimately with uncertain origin. The 2 most prevalent theories is that it is from Lepas, which means rock due to the rocky landscape of the island, or that this word was used by the Greeks for having an abundance of rock oyster, Lepadoi. As for Malta itself, it's believed to first have come from the Phoenician root mult, meaning haven or port, referring to the area around Bormla in Malta, known as the Grand Harbor, but which was later phonosemantically matched in Greek as Melite, with the root word being meli, honey. Finally, the holy micronation of the Vatican also makes its presence in Altera. It is named after Vaticanus, the Roman name for the hill on which the papal palace still stands. Beyond this, however, the etymological trail goes cold. The name may derive from Etruscan with an unknown meaning. Another theory is that the name could relate to the old Roman god Vaticanus, who presided over wailing newborns, with the god's name related to the word vacitus, crying, squalling, wailing. The connection to vatis, poet, soothsayer, prophet, and vaticinor, foretell, prophecy, was applied later by popular folklore. And with that, we're going to have to put a pin on it, as that's all the time we have for this video. I'd like to quickly make a reminder here that Atlas Altera is a fictional world-building project, but these etymologies are almost all based on real facts. Moreover, I'll say this again, my research is not definitive or complete. Oftentimes, my presented etymologies are informed guesses. But if you found any of this interesting or would like to learn more about the other aspects of Atlas Altera, do check out my Map Room Rambling series, where my friend Tristan and I have longer discussions on the project. And if you really want to go down some rabbit holes, check out the project website, atlasaltera.com. You can view map graphics there, read up on lore and project explanations, and also test out some cool beta features that are being designed, such as an online interactive language map, as well as a family tree visualization generator. And finally, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you in the next video.